Well, we appreciate everyone coming out on this nice, warm summer afternoon. We appreciate your patience. Obviously, we could not arrange the weather to be as we would have liked it to have been. Therefore, we've had to modify the ceremony somewhat. And so instead of having the ribbon cutting outside where we come inside, we're actually going to gather together and hear some comments, some brief remarks. And then we're going to go outside, cut the ribbon, and come back in. So we'll give some further instructions on that as well. In order to get this dedication and ribbon cutting underway, I would first like to invite Lynn Archer up to the lectern.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If everybody would please rise for the presentation of colors and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Up. Left. Hey. Forward. Up.
You may be seated. It was a little over a year ago that we met together on a site that had nothing but grass, trees, and just a wee bit of mud. And now we're standing in a firehouse that's fully functional and prepared to serve the citizens of Richmond, Virginia. We welcome you, our honored guests, dignitaries, the fire department family, and also I understand there's even some family members of fire department family here. We welcome all of you to this occasion. The first thing we'd like to do is go ahead and hear the dedication comments from Mayor Dwight Jones. And we'd like to also congratulate the mayor. We'd also like to congratulate the mayor on his recent re-election. Mayor Jones.
Well, thank you, Chief Taylor, Chief Creasy, Mr. Marshall, and all of those who are here today. This is a great day for the city of Richmond, isn't it? Isn't it? A great day. We're celebrating the dedication of this lovely facility. Before I get to say just one or two things, I want to recognize the presence of another gentleman who won election last night, Parker Angelasco. I'm going to learn how to pronounce your name, Parker, before long. Stand up, and he's our new 5th District Councilman. Very good. And Harriet Coulter from the Library Board. Thank you. I also want to recognize some of the folks from the city who were integral in helping us get this building up. And so I want to mention John Winter and Don Summers and David Wrinkle, all right? Winter and Summer and Wrinkle. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for your help. And I understand that Deputy Chief Taylor has a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this building, so Chief, thank you so much for your hard work on this facility. This is a great day for the city of Richmond because we have the opportunity to come here and dedicate this wonderful state-of-the-art facility. As I go around and talk to constituents and citizens, there are two things that they say are important, and they always come up. The first is education, the second is public safety. And today we have the opportunity to come and dedicate this wonderful building that will allow us to enhance our ability to do public safety, give us greater capability and capacity to respond to emergencies. This new state-of-the-art fire station replaces a building that was 100 years old. Kind of hard to believe that we were still using something 100 years old, but the old fire station on Bainbridge Street, I'm told, was 100 years old. Am I right, Chief? And so this is a replacement that is long overdue. It was an old fire station. This fire company, I understand, is 153 years old and the fifth oldest in the United States of America. So that fire station was right along when they got started. That's when they built that one over there in South Side. So we're happy that we have this new state-of-the-art facility, and we're happy also that we were able to use stimulus dollars to get this done, along with some CIP dollars from our budget. And Chief Creasy just told me that our department got the 10th highest award from the stimulus funds for this particular project. So we're really happy that those funds were available and that we were able to get such a large allotment so that we could be here today. I'm sure that people will tell you many things about the building, but some of the things that I was impressed with was that this building has rapid opening bay doors and breathing air, refilling stations, state-of-the-art equipment. This building is gold LEED certified. We only have to do silver, but we went a step further and made it gold LEED certified. And when you drive down the street here and see this beautiful building, you don't think that it's a fire station. Kind of looks like a church or some kind of a magnificent edifice of some sort, but it's a beautiful design that blends in so nicely with this wonderful community. Also, the improvements to Cannon Run Park, the new lighting there, all of those things are extremely important, but the most important thing is that this is a wonderful facility, a safe place for our first responders to have, for our first responders to be able to come and operate from. We are so proud of our firefighters, the men and women who put their lives daily on the line for us. They do such a wonderful job, and we often take for granted the sacrifice and the service that they give. And so we take this moment to the men and women of the department to let you know how much we appreciate you. This building is wonderful, but it doesn't mean anything if we don't have the service and the dedicated service of the men and women of our fire department. So let's give them a round of applause because they do such a wonderful job. And so once again, we continue to build a better Richmond. We continue to build on the blocks that are going to allow us to have a Tier 1 city. We continue to do great things that causes all of us to be enthused about being residents of the city of Richmond. There are so many good things so many good things going on in the city, and to be able to come here and to cut this ribbon today just allows us to know that the momentum we have in the city is unparalleled, and it's an exciting time to be a resident of the city of Richmond. And so with that, let me, as the mayor of the city of Richmond, newly elected for the second time, tell you that I officially dedicate this building to be utilized for the operations of the Richmond City Fire Department. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mayor Jones. We appreciate your comments, and we also appreciate equally the fact that you have been a supporter of public safety and a supporter of our fire department, as seen by this fire station, as well as the fire trucks that we have to replace some of our aging fleet. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I would like to invite up someone else who was appointed fire chief about 7 years ago, and his vision was to also have a better fire department. Just as Mayor Jones has consistently said, building a better Richmond is our vision collectively. Fire Chief Robert A. Creasy has a vision of also building a better fire department. In pursuance of that, he has authorized his department, agents under his department, to pursue very vigorously new upgrades to city facilities, fire stations in particular, as well as where possible to replace some of the aging facilities. And so with those introductory thoughts in mind, I would like to invite my boss, Robert Creasy.
Good afternoon and welcome. This is the day that a lot of people thought would never happen, and I want to recognize the command staff and for their involvement, Chief Taylor especially, his staff, Teresa Hunter, who helped write the grant that got us $3.5 million of stimulus money out of about $232 million, 10th highest award, and without that we would not be here today, without the support of the mayor and Mr. Marshall, the CAO, and the finance department for capital improvement funding to match the necessary funds to make that stretch that $3.5 million into 5.1. Unfortunately, there's nothing cheap about building fire stations these days. I want to recognize the battalion chiefs and the Fire Company 17 who's here. Today is moving day for them. I'd ask them to stand up. These are the folks that serve you in this community. I'd also like to recognize some of the retired firefighters who've taken time out of their busy lives to be here today, some of whom probably worked in the old Station 17 at some point. I won't suggest that they were here back when the horses were here, but there are folks here, and so I'd like to recognize you for your contributions in the past to our department. Thank you. And I normally don't write speeches, but I was nervous about winging it today, and so I do have a few prepared remarks. Obviously, this particular station is about 100 years in the making, and there's a little bit of a story, a little bit of history that goes behind it. And so if you will indulge me, I'll share a little bit with you. In the book Richmond in Ragtime by Harry Colatz Jr., he writes about things that were going on in Richmond during the period from 1909 to 1911. And in the book, he writes under the section called The City of the Future. In 1907, the Chamber of Commerce proclaimed Richmond, quote, the most important financial, commercial, and manufacturing city in the South Atlantic states. The Times-Dispatch, with enthusiasm, proclaims at 1909's outset that the problems involved with sudden growth are being met as they arise, and that, quote, larger sums of money than ever before in the government of the city have been provided from the current revenues and bond issues for carrying on of great public works from which the city of the future will reap the benefit. And later he says, the Richmond Board of Aldermen concurs with the Common Council on April the 13th, 1909, and adopts an ordinance forming a committee to speed the consolidation with Manchester, the city, its sister city south of the river. The decision, 5 years in the offing, comes over the objections of Council President Robert Whitted, Jr., head of a larger printing concern and staunch proponent of city improvements. He opposes council forming yet another committee to study future annexations. Quote, the appointment of such a committee, Whitted says, will only result in the creation of a false public sentiment, and pressure will be brought here to force us to adopt matters which the public do not really want. Whitted wants the city first to extend proper services to the newest parts, improve parks and playgrounds, and construct a city library. Whittitt is a minority moderating voice. Annexation enthusiasts want Richmond to be bigger, if not better, than ever. A sense of urgency, as though Richmond is on the verge of losing a race, crackles in accounts of civic and business meetings. The newspapers at the beginning of each year present long recitations of Richmond's achievements in factories built or stores expanded, hotels added onto, the total manufacture of hats, shoes, and locomotives, the profits of companies and holdings of banks. Every dollar earned, each rivet driven in, brings Richmond closer to an apprehended, illustrious tomorrow. So those were the sentiments in the city in 1909, and they voted to merge with the city of Manchester in 1910, and they rushed to get it done before the 1910 census so they would have bragging rights as a larger city in the South Atlantic states. And as I understand it, and I don't have this, I didn't get a chance to research this, but the decision to merge the two cities was a very close vote, perhaps separated by only 1 or 2 votes, and we certainly saw a little bit of that last night going on throughout our consciousness. So amidst this public debate and controversy, Richmond is eager to get out in front and stay there by becoming bigger, better, stronger. Manchester at this time is struggling to provide adequate municipal services, being a smaller city with less revenue to work with. Both cities and the leaders therein see opportunities in this merger, and so in 1910 they vote to merge. And so the old Fire Station 17 at 2901 Bainbridge is a product of that merger. It's a commitment from the city of Richmond to extend municipal services to the larger cities, now covering both sides of the river, and in order to provide the new Richmond with a safer tomorrow. And even while serving this new larger city and serving old Manchester, Station 17 became part of the neighborhoods that it covered from its place among them. In those days, firefighters were on duty at all times, except when they were given leave to go home and spend a little bit of time with their families. Yes, they worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they only got time away from the station when the station captain allowed it. So usually they lived very close to the station, a few doors away or within walking distance of work, but also within running distance if any general alarm were sounded because reinforcements were needed to deal with some fire. And so fire stations in Richmond show up when the neighborhoods show up. And when the people come, the firefighters show up to serve them and live among them. And all of us here who've spent time in this department have spent a third of our lives, not just a third of our waking lives, but a third of our lives living in a fire station in a neighborhood that may not be where we live with our family. Some do, some don't. And as Richmond continued its incremental expansion over the years, other fire stations were added. Station 20 up on Forest Hill Avenue, Station 21 down on Jeff Davis Highway were added when the city annexed yet again in 1942. And of course, the very controversial annexation in 1970 added 4 more fire stations and 6 more fire companies to the southwest side of the city. And in the time since that annexation, over 40 years ago, Fire Station 17, depending on which budget year, which debate you reference, has been slated for closure and elimination, merger with another fire station, renovation of that station, or complete replacement as we stand here today. So to say that this has been at least 40 years in the making, if not 100 years in the making, and today we see the result of that decision making, that we have a station that will now serve. The important thing to note, though, is that driven in this public policy debate, the neighbors of Station 17 fought long and hard to make sure that their station and their firefighters didn't go away. They fought hard to preserve the protection that this fire company has afforded. In short, those who cared the most did not want to see this resource go away. But in time and in the inevitable march of progress, we simply have outgrown that building, and in the many years of daily wear and tear, it no longer serves our purpose. Today, we want to recognize this move to a new location of the same fire company that was placed in service a century ago. We dedicate this state-of-the-art facility to the neighbors and the neighborhoods it continues to serve. more importantly, we want to acknowledge the gift of the community in allowing us to reprogram open parkland. Yes, we talked to the communities and suggested that we be allowed to build a fire station on their park. And they agreed to it. We agreed to make some improvements to the park. And I think in the days, weeks, and years to come, you're going to see a real synergy develop out the back doors of the station. Will probably be more important than the front doors of the station. And so we also recognize that they're willing to give up some parkland to meet an equally important public safety need. And we celebrate our collective success in using the stimulus funding to establish what I think is a beautiful gateway symbol to this community in the name of public safety. And you need to know that this is the first fire station that the City of Richmond has built in the 21st century. It's the first station we have built since 1994 citywide, and it's the only station south of the river built since 1975. So to say that it's been a long time coming is an understatement. Starting here today and likely for the next century, the men and women of Richmond Fire Department, Engine Company 17, will continue to serve neighbor and neighborhood alike, will continue to provide the best possible municipal public safety services to Old Manchester, honoring commitments made back in 1910, and we will continue our efforts in doing our part to build a better Richmond by bringing a safer tomorrow for the next century. Thank you. Okay. We're improvising a bit. I wanted to present to the mayor and the chief administrative officer as honorary chiefs, since they both outrank me. They get white fire chief's helmets. Mayor Jones, we gave you a helmet without the shield at the groundbreaking, and now you have the completed version. And Mr. Marshall, thank you for your support.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the fire department. I'd also like to ask Reverend Bruce Gray to come forward. He is our fire department chaplain, and I would like for him to offer a blessing of this facility for the community. Reverend Gray.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for the gift of this day, and we thank you for the gift of this fire station and this new facility. Help all of us who live and work from here to care about this community, to care for the neighbors that we all serve. Be with the members of Station 17. Keep them safe. Keep their loved ones safe, especially when they are here at work. Be with this entire community. Let your presence be with us, your blessing be upon us, and keep us safe. In your name we pray. Amen.
Now that this facility has been properly dedicated by Mayor Jones, what we'd like to do now is do the official ribbon cutting. Following the ribbon cutting, we invite everyone to stay as our guest, and we have some modest refreshments, some tours of the building, and we also have a couple of exhibits outside. So what we're going to do is go through this door, walk around to the front, cut the ribbon, and then come right back in.
All right, on the count of 3. You go. All right, 1, 2, 3.